I'm your host, Elena Johansson, and today we are going to discuss the controversial topic of GMOs. Today I have with me Dr. David Chayat, an expert in the field of genetically modified organisms. Welcome, Dr. Chayat.
Thank you, Elena. It's an honor to be here.
Your work is fairly impressive. Could you tell me and the folks at home a little about some of the projects that you've been involved in?
Yes, my most commonly known project was Bt corn, which is a variety of corn that has a gene from a certain bacteria which causes the corn to produce a protein that is toxic to the insects that attempt to feed on it.
Wow, that's neat, but it sounds a little scary.
Well, there's no reason to be concerned about this product because the protein is both non-toxic to humans and animals. It is only used as feed crop and there is no bacteria actually incorporated into the corn.
Very interesting. I feel that a lot of people are very wary of GMOs. They're afraid of what they actually entail.
Yes, it seems as though many people don't really understand the full aspect of GMOs.
As I said before, GMOs are a very controversial topic. One of our reporters, Alicia Wilson, went to the streets to get some opinions from the public at the University of Delaware, a school with many talented and intelligent individuals. Alicia?
Hello, Elena. Today I interviewed several individuals here at the beautiful University of Delaware. I asked them general knowledge questions about GMOs and a few opinion questions. Here's what they said. Alright, so do you guys know anything about GMOs? Do you know what they are?
Like the stuff in food?
Yeah.
Genetically modified organisms?
Yep. Do you know of any, foods that they popularly genetically modify?
I'm pretty sure it's the majority of foods. That's what I'm pretty sure I'm aware of.
And what do you guys think of them? Do you think they're safe or anything?
No.
No? Not really? Alright, thank you for your time. Alright, so do you know anything about GMOs?
Genetically modified organisms. A little bit.
Alright, what can you tell us about them?
I know that I learned in high school that they kind of change the genetic makeup of plants and stuff to give them more desirable characteristics. And
that's good. Do you know of any popular GMOs that have that they've made?
I know they do tomatoes pretty commonly.
Yep. So what do you think of GMOs? Do you think they're safe? Do you think they're good to eat?
I think that's a big debate. I'm not personally in favor of them because we don't have enough research about them, and something about messing with the genetics of things is kind of strange to me.
Alright, thank you for your time.
No problem, thank you.
Hello, sir. Do you know anything about GMOs?
Genetically modified O's.
Yeah, it's genetically modified organisms.
Okay.
Do you know of any foods that are commonly genetically modified?
Corn. Corn.
Alright. And what do you think of GMOs? Do you think they're safe? Do you think they're unsafe?
I don't think they're necessarily unsafe. I mean, they're probably not as healthy as a natural product, but at the same time, they're okay in the body. They're not going to kill you.
Alright, thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Have a nice day.
Do you know anything about GMOs?
No.
Do you know what they are?
Not really.
Alright, so they're genetically modified organisms. Have you heard of them before?
Yes.
Okay. What's your opinion of GMOs? Do you think they're safe?
I don't think they're very safe. I see a lot of things that say it does not contain GMOs, which tends to be a good thing.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
No problem.
Excuse me, sir. What is your opinion on GMOs? Oh, it's very interesting. Do you know of any popular GMOs out there? Hello, sir. Do you know anything about GMOs?
GMOs, yes.
What are GMOs?
GMOs are genetically modified foods.
Alright, good. And what do you think of GMOs? Do you think they're safe?
Awful, terrible, don't use them, they'll kill you, give you cancer.
Alright, thank you very much. About GMOs?
No. No clue.
Do you know what GMOs are?
Nope. No clue.
Okay, so they're genetically modified organisms. Have you heard of them before?
A little bit, yeah. No. Yes.
What do you think of them? Do you think they're safe?
I have no idea.
I think they are if you do a lot of research on them and say researched on them basically.
Alright, thank you for your time, boys.
No problem.
Yep.
Hello, do you know anything about genetically modified organisms?
No.
Do you have any idea what they are?
Like organisms that are Like man-made?
Kind of. Do you think that they're safe to put in our foods?
No,
Why not?
because it's not like organic. I don't know.
All right, thank you so much. You're really closer. Do you know anything about GMOs?
I don't.
Do you know what they are?
Not really.
Okay, so they're genetically modified organisms. Have you heard of them before?
Yes.
So what do you think? Are they safe? Are they unsafe?
I think they're unsafe, but I don't really know why.
All right, thank you so much. So, do you guys know anything about GMOs?
Very little.
All right, do you know what GMO stands for?
Genetically modified organisms.
All right, and what do you think of GMOs? Are they safe?
Yeah, seems like it.
All right, thank you very much. So, Professor, I assume you know a little bit about GMOs. Could you tell us a little bit about what they are?
Well, that's already a very difficult question. Essentially, those are organisms that people have taken genes from another organism and introduced them into a new one. And then grown them up, and a new organism with different traits has been created.
All right, and what do you think of them? Do you think they're safe to eat?
Well, like every new technology or any technology, there is a possibility that it can be used for good or bad purposes. So, to me, as long as there are safeguards in place, I think it is an acceptable technology. They will definitely have the potential to do good, and to some extent they already have done good. But there's also the possibility that the technology can be misused. So far, I think that in this country and in most countries in the world where these kinds of technologies have been implemented, the regulations have prevented misuse. And so what is out there right now, I am not really concerned about.
And why do you think a lot of people are concerned about them anyway?
Well, I mean, there's various reasons why you can be concerned about them. One of the biggest one is probably rooted in our genetics going way, way back. And that is that we generally do not like to ingest things that we don't really know. It's called neophobia. We just don't like to eat things that we haven't eaten before, that a lot of people haven't eaten before. And so with genetic modified foods, I think there is that tendency that we are scared of something that to put into our mouth that we previously have not had as an option to eat. So that's one thing. Then there is the more philosophical side of things where people have concerns about, is it right to change something that normally naturally grows in a certain way, and now we are putting genes in that normally were not there. And so these kinds of things combine to this kind of fairly forceful movement against GMOs.
All right, thank you for your time, Professor. As you can see, most people did not know much about GMOs. A lot of people thought they were dangerous. However, they did not really know how they work. I would like to show a brief video from the people at GMOanswers.com. Here, they use the example of the papaya plant to explain how GMOs are produced and how they function.
So you want to know how a GMO is made? You're not alone. It's one of the top questions about biotechnology. There are different ways plants can be genetically engineered. We'll use the story of the papaya in Hawaii to walk you through one of them. Step 1. Determine whether genetic engineering is the most effective way to solve a plant's problem, such as a disease or damage from pests. For centuries, traditional plant breeding has been used to fight pests, environmental stress, such as drought, as well as to improve taste and nutrition. The reasons to develop GMOs are no different today, but GMOs can be created more quickly and more precisely. Other breeding methods can take decades to produce results and aren't able to be as precise in focusing on one genetic trait. A powerful new tool, biotechnology, was now available to fight back. farmers and researchers turned to genetic engineering beginning in 1985 for help. Step 2. Identify the gene or genetic material that could solve the problem, like providing resistance to the disease or pest, and study the genetic makeup of the plant that needs the trait. Researchers and farmers had to find a way to make the papaya plant resistant to the deadly virus. PRSV resistance was the genetic trait needed to solve the problem. Researchers knew that if plants contained certain genetic material from the virus within their own DNA, they were protected. If they could insert a copy of this gene from the virus itself into the papaya's genetic makeup, the plants would be protected. Step 3. Copy the trait from a donor organism and implant it into the plant's DNA. Researchers isolated a PRSV gene from the virus itself. Then they needed a way to get the genetic material into the papaya plant's own DNA. Researchers deployed a commonly used technique in biotechnology called transformation, a process by which a copy of genetic material from a specific trait is inserted into cells. There are many ways to transform a cell. In this case, the researchers used a high-speed particle bombardment method. Through a high-pressure insertion device, the gene from the virus was inserted into the DNA of the papaya seed. The genetic material made the plant resistant to the ring spot virus, just as a flu shot makes people resistant to the flu. The researchers were able to successfully transform 17 plants. These plants contained this gene from the virus and produced a protein from the virus that helped the plants become resistant to the PRSV infection.
After these 17 papaya plants are created, they are bred together to create a strain of plants that is resistant to a particular pest. They also go through vigorous testing to ensure that they are safe for humans and other animals before they are put to the actual market. And that's pretty much all there is to it. Back to you, Elena.
Thank you, Alicia. That professor seems like a very nice man. Overall, it seems as though the attitudes towards GMOs were fairly negative, with the exception of a few students and the professor. Dr. Chaya, would you care to comment on this?
Yes. It seems to me like the individuals who had positive things to say about GMOs were more knowledgeable or willing to consent that with plenty of research, GMOs could be considered a safe option.
I noticed that as well, and it also seemed as though the people who had negative feelings about GMOs either weren't quite sure why they thought they were bad, or they didn't have much to back up their opinions. I'd like to take a look at this chart from fewresources.org for a few minutes. This pie chart shows American opinions towards genetically modified foods. Overall, it shows that about 59% of Americans are against GMOs and only about 8% are okay with them. The other 33% were either unsure or had no real opinion. This reflects fairly accurately the opinions that Alicia collected today. The second chart that we have here shows the opinions of Americans in comparison to their level of scientific literacy.
This diagram demonstrates that as people learn more about GMOs, they are able to make a more convicted decision about their opinion. This is evident through the decrease in uncertain responses. Now, this is not to say that people who are against GMOs are unintelligent. Everyone has a right to their own opinion. It does, however, stress the need to be informed about this topic. In my professional opinion, the GMOs that are currently on the market have been thoroughly researched and are safe.
Well, there you have it, folks. That's all we have for you today. I'll see you tomorrow on Good Morning San Diego.
Does it make any difference? You might want to turn the light off to
It's
see
a
if it
very
makes
flattering angle.
You're going to have to keep looking.
Thank you, Alicia. That professor seems like a very nice man. You have to do it.
I did smile. I smiled. What do you
Yeah.
want?
Dr. Dave,
I'm taking a sabbatical.
Are we good, Dr. Dave?
Yes.